All right, day 2 of law of cosines. Now we dealt with law of sines. This is law of cosines. A little bit odder looking and more complicated formula, I would say. It's really not that bad once you get used to it, but it's kind of strange, the setup. All right, so a squared, this side. If you square this side, it is equal to this side, but plus this side. Kind of like if you think about Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, kind of along those same lines, okay? But then you're going to minus 2 times bc. So those same things you squared on the other side, you're going to double them. And then you're going to do it times the cosine of the angle that matches that letter. So forth. Okay? It's weird looking. You're going to have it. You just got to be able to plug the numbers in correctly. That's the hardest part about it. So you just got to be careful with this. All right? So for example 6, solve the triangle. All right? So all we have right now is angle B. So we got to start with B. So we write our formula. First, b squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2 times a times c, and then the cosine of that letter b. So let's just fill it in. Take our time, go slowly. B squared equals a. What's a? 11 squared plus c, 14 squared minus 2, and then those two numbers again, 11 and 14. And the cosine, I don't know why I just did that, the cosine of 34. Okay, so you're going to take this slowly. You could write this all out, just be careful. Okay, so we're going to take our calculator. And remember, we're going to have to do the square root to solve this. So you can just do this in one fell swoop if you want to. So you do second square root. Now just be careful. All right. So it's 11 squared plus 14 squared minus 2 times 11 times 14 times the cosine of 34. And round to the nearest tenth, the 5 is going to tell the 8 to round up. So side B is 7.9. Now that we have an angle and a side, we're going to go back to what we did the previous day and do this law of sines. Sine of 34 over 7.9, and you pick A or C. It doesn't matter. I'm going to go with A. Sine of A over 11. Now be careful here because we're trying to find an angle, so we're going to do an inverse. Remember that. So sine of A equals 11 times sine of 34 divided by 7.9. So when I type this in the calculator, don't forget to hit second. So second sine, all right, 11 times the sine of 34, close the parentheses, divide by 7.9. You have to hit second sine because we're finding the angle. It says round nearest tenth, the 3 tells it to stay, so 51.1. So angle A is 51.1 degrees. And then to find angle C, all we do is add these two and subtract from 180. That gives us here 94.9 degrees. We just solved everything. Angle 7. right? This one's a little bit different because all we have is sides. Okay? So you can pick, you can look at this and figure out which one to do. Here's a hint. Always take the largest side. Okay? There is a problem if you pick, you couldn't run into a problem if you pick one of the smaller sides. So always pick the largest. Okay? So we're going to do b squared. B squared equals a squared plus c squared, okay, minus 2 times a times c minus the cosine, I can write cosine, of b. I don't know why I wrote minus, it's supposed to be times. Let's just fix all of that. Times cosine of b. There's only one subtraction in there. So, b squared, we do know, 27 squared equals a squared plus c squared minus 2 times 12 times 20 times cosine of b, which we do not know. All right, so I'm going to do some number crunching here. All right, so I'm going to do 12 squared plus 20 squared. Well, I'm going to do all the numbers, really. So on the left side, I have 27 squared. I don't know what's happening to my calculator there. Let's try that again. Calculator is possessed. There we go. Clear out whatever's there. So 27 squared is 729. Equals 12 squared is 144 plus 20 squared, which is 400, minus 2 times 12 times 20, right? 10 times 12 is 120. Double that is 240 times 2 is 480. So minus 480 times the cosine of b. So what I have is 729 equals, I combine these terms, 544 minus 480 cosine of b. So I'm going to subtract 729 minus 544 and get 185. So I get 185 equals 480 times cosine of b. Now think about it as if this was just x, 480x. I need to get rid of that 480. How do I do that? By division. So 185 divided by 480 gives me a long number, but I'm going to go with 0.385. Okay? Equals the cosine, I don't know why I put a C up there, cosine of b. And then to find the angle, again, I hit second cosine. Anytime you're trying to find an angle, you hit second cosine of 0.385. Nope. Sorry, I just realized I made a mistake. This was minus 480, so I need to divide by that and have negative. So it's going to make a difference. It's not going to be a 67-degree angle. So again, second cosine, maybe some of you already caught my mistake, negative 0.385. And there I get 112.6. So angle B is 112.6. Now, Now that I have one angle, it's very easy to find the other angle using this more simpler law of sines. So sine of 112.6 over 27 equals, you can pick any letter you want. I'm going to do A. Sine of A over 12. All right. So I do this one now. Sine of A equals, again, cross multiply and divide, 12 times the sine of 112.6 divided by 27. I'm trying to find an angle, so I need to hit second sine. And I do 12 times the sine of 112.6, close the parentheses, divided by 27. These are just time consuming, mainly. So angle A is 24.2. I'm just not writing anything correctly, so let's try this again. Angle A, 24.2. All right. Now, if I add this and this together and subtract from 180, angle C ends up being 43.1. Hold on. Nope. Slightly off. Let me try that again. So 112.6 plus 24.2. Take that from 180. That should be 43.2. So 6 plus 2 is 8. And that's the entire angle, the entire triangle completed. One last problem, very similar to the one we just did. Okay, so organism step angle is a measure of walking efficiency. The closer the step angle is to 180, the more efficiently the organism walked. The diagram shows a set of footprints for a dinosaur. Find the step angle of B. We're trying to find this angle right here. So if we're doing B, that's the B squared equals the other two, A squared plus C squared minus 2 times A times C times the cosine of that same letter. So let's start filling it out. B is 316 squared equals A, which is 155 squared, plus 197 squared minus 2 times 155 times 197 times cosine of B. Now, another way, similar to what we just did, but a little bit different way of doing this, still get the same answer, okay, is if you think about it, you're going to do this and subtract that from the other side, and you're going to divide by that. So another way to do this, and you pick which one you like. I'm doing two different examples in 7a, the same math. But cosine of B is equal to the 316 squared minus 155 squared minus 197 squared. If you look back at the previous problem, that's what we end up doing. We just had all these numbers first. And then you divide by whatever this was in front of the cosine B. All right. To simplify that, on the top, you end up with 37022. And on the bottom, you end up with negative 61070. And then we just do second cosine, because again, we're trying to find an angle. And we type in 37022, close parentheses, divide by, close parentheses isn't as important, but Negative, don't forget the negative, 610, 70. And I made a mistake somewhere. Let's see. It was that parentheses. I don't want the parentheses there. And there we go. 127.3, because the 1 tells the 3 to stay the same. So angle B is 127.3. Now, if we were supposed to complete the triangle, we could find out A by doing law of sines, using angle B with this, and then we could, add those together and subtract to find angle C. Didn't have to do it on this problem, and we are finished.